Hey everybody, this is Lorelia. So I am doing a video. It has been a minute since I have came live. I've been very busy, but I just had to discuss this article that has been pretty much going viral. It's an article about Wells Fargo and their mortgage refinancing division um, in regards to Black applicants. Now, my position on this is not to say it doesn't exist. Redlining is real. Historically, we know it has a place. But now, and this is, what's in the article is something that I have always talked about. If you go to any of, my videos, you will see historically I've talked about these things. So I'm just going to talk about a few things that that mainly um, some of the highlights that I would say that are some of the main things they talked about, and how it really affects just the understanding of how this financing, this world of economics, funding, credit, how it all works. Nothing about the article that was discussed is new, because these are the things. That's why I've been busy because right now, I am doing a cohort of numerous workshops. Some meet on Wednesday, some meet on Sunday, and some meet on Wednesday, some meet on Sunday, and we're discussing a lot of things that are in the article. And so, one of the things that they talked about um, is automatic underwriting. Automatic underwriting is a term that you need to know. And the reason why I say it's a term that you need to know is because you need to understand the economic landscape that we are in when it comes to funding. These are things that I discuss with my clients. Unless it's a smaller bank, a credit union, a local community bank, the way that you get approved for funding now is based on a computer algorithm. It's a scoring algorithm. So understand these trillion-dollar entities like the Wells Fargo. You think about the top four in no particular order: Wells Fargo, BOA, Bank of America, Chase, Citibank. They have spilt billions with creating software to decide if you can get approved for something. And even outside of that, like I said, these are things I've talked about in many videos in the past. I talked about how, with the birth of fintech, and how you can literally go online, put information into the system, and the system in a computer will tell you if you've gotten approval. That is the landscape that we live in. So when I'm working with clients and they're trying to get access to funding, I'm sharing with them another thing they talked about was data. If you have heard me in any of my videos, I have screamed to the mountaintops how important data mix is. Now, like I said, this is not a video to say, "Oh, woe is me," we can get our share of the pie. I get it. It has its place. My point is to understand which way the pendulum is swinging. And I think as a group of people, we don't understand the moving parts when it comes to real estate, mortgages, funding, credit, or what have you. You have people online who are bamboozling people into believing that if they do these quick tricks, that some way or the other they're going to fall into a wealth pool of money and wealth in real estate. And I have said it before and I'll say it again. You may can do some quick strategy to get some money. I'm not even going to go into it. There's a ton of videos on somebody who's telling you if you do this quick strategy, some way or the other, you're going to get thousands of dollars. And by all means, it may work. But I'm talking about in the long term scheme of things. That is why clients that I work with, people are amazed. Oh, 5 figures in funding, 6 figures in funding. How is that possible? There's no tricks. There's no tricks. There's, no mystery. It's just understanding what needs to happen. And so the article talks about data mix, credit mix, because if credit mix didn't have a place, everyone with an 800 credit score would be gravy. And we clearly know that there are people online or offline who have these methods and strategies where they can do a credit sweep. And with that credit sweep, you can get a 700 or an 800 credit score. We know it does exist, but it has no place in the long term scheme of things. That's why people that I work with, clients that I work with, teaching them how to become a professional borrower. And when you understand the rules, you understand what is it that banks are looking at. Now, one may say, like I said, everyone will have their own perception of that article. There are going to be people who are going to read that article and be like, oh, woe is me. I ain't got a chance. Everything gets stacked up against me. And I'm going to be the voice of reason and say there is a silver lining in it. And that is what I talk about when I discuss credit mix and I talk about data. Those are things that will decide if you can get funding. Another thing they talked about credit mix, they talked about data, they talked about automatic underwriting. Those three things are just a tip of the iceberg of things. Oh, another one. And this is my final one that I wanted to point out was the mix. When they talked about the mix of credit, they talked about how a large portion of minorities. Now, you would think if you're on social media, one would think, oh, everybody is winning in real estate. Everyone is making money in real estate. But when you look at the data collectively, on a collective basis, minorities are the main individuals who are renters. And with minorities, Black Americans, because we know minorities is a very big pool, but we're talking about Black Americans, them being renters, that their rent payments do not reflect their FICO score. Now, let me break it down to you because many people, you got these people online, everyone's a credit expert. And could you do some quick things to get somebody results? You can. But see, what a lot of people don't know, and this is what the article talked about. There is your FICO score, and then there are the bureaus. A lot of people do not know that relationship. They don't know the relationship. People truly believe that their credit score comes from the bureaus. Your credit score doesn't come from the bureaus. Your credit score comes from FICO. And that's why people want to believe that they only have three scores. That's why you have people who think that credit scores come from the bureaus. And when you talk about credit scores to people, they will talk about their three scores: the one Experian, the one in Equifax, the one in TransUnion. What people do not know that within FICO, you have 28 scores. 28. So when a person comes to me and say, Lorelia, my score is this, my response is always, well, what score? And then they will proceed and then they will say, oh, my Experian or my Equifax, my TransUnion. And then I will say, well, there's still 28 of them. And so with me saying about FICO, how does this relate to the rental payments? FICO doesn't recognize rent payments in developing a score. Did you hear that? FICO doesn't recognize rent payments in a score. So you have people, I did a video about this a few years ago. It's still on my YouTube channel. I'll link it after this, after I'm done with this live, where I said rent payments have no impact on your score. That is something that the credit bureaus put in place, but they have no reflection on your score. So you have this article, and that's why I said, don't even take it from me. The article talks about this. You have this article that is talking about credit data. You have this article is talking about underwriting, automatic underwriting. You have this article that's talking about all the mitigating factors that come into that's part of the whole conundrum for you to get approved for any type of financing in regards to the mortgage industry. If you go if you understand FICO and you do a deep dive within FICO, you will see FICO doesn't have anything for rent payments. They have nothing for rent payments. They do not recognize rent payments as part of your score. Your score within FICO is broken up into auto, mortgages, credit cards, and other. And even within there, there's different versions of auto, meaning a bank will look at different versions of that. Within mortgages, different versions of that. Credit cards, different versions of that. Rent payments don't fall into that. Now, that's if your credit expert that you're following knows how to help you to understand how FICO works. That's why I have people who come to me who don't understand how FICO works. And then when you don't understand how FICO works, you don't understand why you're not getting the approvals that you're looking when it comes to funding. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's gonna be people who are gonna watch this video, and then they're going to go to their credit expert. Their credit expert is going to tell them that is a bunch of baloney. And then they're going to try to use the strategies that they are being taught and wondering why I can't get no high business funding approvals. Why I can't get any high credit card approvals on my personal account. They're going to wonder this because you don't understand the impact of FICO. Now, this is not to make an excuse to say what the article did was the right thing or the wrong thing. Like I said, it's all in how you want to perceive it. I believe there's a silver lining in everything. I think there's something to learn with everything. As much as, I'm going to say, is it right? No, but understand what the article is saying. Not too long ago, within the 20th century, we're in the 21st century, but even within the 20th century, redlining was real. Physically, there were areas of parts of the US in every state wherever there was a large population of African American people, banks would not lend mortgages on those homes. The article talked about now there is the digital underwriting. So it is now being created that it still exists, but it goes from the physical to now in the digital. And this is what I tell people, if you think you're going to be smarter than AI, if you think you're going to be smarter than an algorithm, there's no person, and I know this is being going to be put on YouTube. There's no person on YouTube. I don't care what cars your guru is driving. I don't care how many homes they have. I don't care how much money they show you. There is not no guru who is smarter than the technology that these juggernauts are creating. And when you don't understand the rules, you can't play the game and you will continue to lose. What I'm noticing now, You have a lot of people who are chasing rabbits. I call it swimming upstream. People are trying to get access to business credit, business funding, which is what I show people what to do. I help them to secure because, once again, you don't build business credit, you secure it. You get access to it. And when you understand the role that FICO has with you getting business credit and business funding, you will understand that that is how you secure it and funding. These business credit gurus were telling you you're going to build business credit. What you're going to build is a gas card. You're going to get a gas card. And I did videos about this before. Tell me, how is a gas card at a gas station that don't even exist in my part of the country? I'm in the Northeast. We'll have no Texacos. We'll have no Chevrons. Nothing against those companies. They don't exist here. So I'm getting a gas card. How that's going to help me get some real estate? Because what I do, and this is how I'm different from other people, is I help people to be able to leverage that business funding to create a QFE, a qualified funding entity. And from that qualified funding entity, you're going to be able to purchase and then get access to real estate. That's much bigger than building business credit. Much bigger. Much bigger. This is about creating a six-figure, five-figure, 5 or 6 figure QFE, qualified funding entity. Because the qualified funding entity, the QFE that I teach clients to be able to create for themselves, will allow them to get access to the real estate that they're looking to purchase. So, the results are there. The fruits are there. So this is just to point out some of the things that the article talked about. I'm not going to say what Wells Fargo did was right or wrong. I think somebody will have already discussed it. The article has went viral. Um, you know, because at the end of the day, is when you understand the direction things are moving in. Right now, a lot of people are getting distracted by a lot of things, but understand when the article talks about the redlining that still exists, but it's in the digital space. It's not physical, like what you historically read. There are many books that talk about the historical redlining of African Americans and why we were not part of wealth, creating wealth for our families. But now it's going to be digital. And so it really saddens me when I see, and even when people come and they do a consultation, you know th- they're chasing, they're chasing the wrong thing. They're swimming upstream. They're doing things that will never help them to get where it is that they are trying to get to. So once again, this is Lorelia. Like I said, it has been a minute since I've been online live, but I just had to make sure that I, gave my thoughts on this, but nothing about the article, surprised me. The things that I talked about in this video, I do a recap. Um, Automatic underwriting, talked about it. I do more of a deeper dive with my clients to help them understand it when it's in regards to securing and getting access to funding. Automatic underwriting, I get it. That's the world we live in. Data, credit data. I did plenty of videos on that. That's why it's more than a score. The role of FICO, people not knowing that credit bureaus have the information. FICO does the scoring. The bureaus don't do the scoring. And the last thing is rent payments. FICO does not recognize rent payments as part of your score. So you can shoot the messenger, you can think what you want. I know there's 100 people, thousands of people online talk about rent payments, this, that, and the other. FICO don't recognize it. They don't recognize it. So once again, this is Lorelia. If you want to learn how you can secure six figures in funding, 100K or more, make sure you go to www.helpmegetbizcredit.com. There, I do a video sharing with you, the strategy of how I'm able to help people leverage business credit to be able to get access and to secure real estate. I do a deeper dive in that. That's what I concentrate in. And that is how I've been able to help others understand, leverage credit, marry it to real estate. So it's a win-win. So once again, this is Lorelia signing off. Talk to you in the next video.